They called him weak. They said he'd never amount to anything. That man was Marcus Aurelius, and he became the most powerful human on earth. But here's what history doesn't tell you. He discovered one ancient phrase that made him completely immune to insults, criticism, and disrespect. When I tested this phrase for 30 days, people started calling me disturbingly calm and almost inhuman. My ex-girlfriend said I'd become emotionally unreachable. My boss asked if I was on medication. Here's what nobody tells you about anger. 99% of what you've been taught about managing it is complete garbage. Therapists want you to express your feelings. Self-help gurus tell you to count to 10. Your friends say, just let it out. They're all wrong, dead wrong. And I can prove it. The ancient Stoics knew something that modern psychology is just now discovering. Anger isn't just an emotion you experience. It's a pattern you've been trained to repeat. Think about it. Every time you get angry, you feel powerful for a moment. You feel right. You feel justified. Your brain rewards you with adrenaline and dopamine, because for our ancestors, anger meant survival. But you're not fighting tigers anymore. You're getting triggered by tweets. You're not defending your tribe from invaders. You're arguing with strangers on the internet. The same biological response that saved your ancestors is now destroying your peace. But you clicked on this video, which means you're different. You're ready for the truth. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 11 techniques that will make you mentally untouchable. Not tomorrow, not next week. Starting today. These aren't theories or feel-good platitudes. These are battle-tested strategies that have worked for emperors, slaves, and warriors for over 2,000 years. So let's destroy everything you think you know about emotional control. 1. The mirror principle. Why every insult is a confession. Here's the first truth bomb. People don't insult you. They confess their own pain every single time. When someone attacks you, they're holding up a mirror to their own soul. And once you see this, you can never unsee it. Seneca discovered this when he was the richest man in Rome. People constantly attacked him for his wealth, called him a hypocrite, a fraud. His response: we suffer more in imagination than in reality. But here's what he really meant. The people attacking him were suffering from their own poverty mindset. They weren't really angry at him. They were angry at themselves. Think about the last person who really went after you. Got them in your mind? Good. Now answer this. Were they happy? Were they thriving? Were they at peace? Of course not. Happy people don't destroy others. Successful people don't tear others down. It's impossible. The universe doesn't work that way. Here's what I want you to do right now. Pause this video and think of someone who regularly criticizes you. Now ask yourself, what pain are they carrying? Drop your answer in the comments. I'll bet money their attacks mirror their own insecurities. Every time. But here's where it gets crazy. Once you understand this principle, insults become intelligence. Someone calls you stupid. They're revealing their intellectual insecurity. Someone says you're ugly. They hate their own reflection. Someone questions your success. They're drowning in their own failure. You're not being attacked. You're being given a psychological X-ray of their deepest wounds. But knowing this is useless without the next technique. 2. The control illusion, the most expensive lie you tell yourself. Stop right here. Before I reveal this, I need you to understand something. This technique alone will save you years of suffering, but it's going to challenge everything you believe. Ready? Here it is. You control almost nothing, and trying to control what you can't control is making you weak. Epictetus figured this out while he was a slave. His master could beat him, sell him, even kill him. Zero control over his external world. But he became one of the most influential philosophers in history because he discovered the secret. You control exactly two things: your thoughts and your actions. Everything else? It's theater, a show you're watching, not directing. That person who disrespected you, not your circus, not your monkeys. Your boss who doesn't appreciate you, outside your control. Your ex who did you dirty. Their character, their problem. But here's what nobody admits. We're addicted to the illusion of control. We waste 90% of our mental energy trying to control the uncontrollable. It's like trying to hold water in your fist. The harder you squeeze, the more it escapes. Which of these are you trying to control right now? Other people's opinions, the economy, your past? Drop it in the comments. I read everything. And watch how many people are fighting the same impossible battles. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire and still said, "Confine yourself to the present." He couldn't control Rome's problems. He could only control his next decision. If the most powerful man in the world admitted he had limited control, what are you holding on to? Let it go. Right now. Feel that weight lifting. That's power. But power without preparation is useless. 3. Negative visualization, the dark secret to invincibility. This is the technique that sounds pessimistic until you understand the psychology. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius would sit down and imagine everyone betraying him. His wife cheating. His friends lying. His empire crumbling. Sounds depressing. It's actually genius. Because when you've already faced your fears in your mind, reality can't break you. You've already survived it mentally. The real thing is just a weak replay. Think about vaccines. You inject a controlled dose of the disease to build immunity. This is a mental vaccine. You're building psychological antibodies against life's attacks. And here's what's wild. People who practice this are 73% less likely to experience anxiety when bad things actually happen. That's not philosophy. That's neuroscience. Try this tomorrow morning. And I mean actually try it. Don't just nod along. Spend 60 seconds imagining your worst fear happening today. Your biggest insecurity being exposed. Your deepest anxiety coming true. Feel the initial panic. Then ask, would I survive? The answer is always yes. Always. Once you know you can survive anything, you become dangerous. But here's the part that will mess with your head. The things you fear most have usually already happened to someone successful. Bankrupt. Trump, Disney, and Lincoln all went broke. Betrayed. Caesar, Jesus, and Gandhi were all betrayed by close friends. Humiliated. Oprah, Ellen, and Obama were all publicly humiliated early in their careers. Your worst-case scenario is someone else's comeback story. Sit with that. But visualization without this next technique is just daydreaming. 4. The 6-second weapon. Strategic silence that destroys attackers. Count to 6. Right now. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Feels long, doesn't it? Those 6 seconds are your secret weapon. Because nothing destroys an attacker faster than nothing. When someone insults you and you immediately respond, you're playing their game. But when you pause, when you let silence hang in the air, something magical happens. They start drowning in their own words. They hear how small they sound. They feel how petty their attack was. Your silence becomes a mirror that shows them their ugliness. There's a Japanese concept called mokusatsu, killing with silence. It literally changed World War II. But forget war. Let's talk about your daily battles. Last week, someone publicly criticized my work in a meeting. The old me would have defended, argued, fought back. Instead, I stayed silent for 6 seconds. Just stared, took notes, then said, "Thank you for the feedback." The room went cold. 3 people texted me after saying I destroyed him without saying a word. Here's the psychology. Humans cannot handle silence. It triggers primal anxiety. We're hardwired to fill gaps. So when you don't respond immediately, the attacker's brain goes into overdrive. They start questioning themselves. Did I go too far? Why aren't they reacting? What are they thinking? Your silence becomes psychological torture. They defeat themselves while you do nothing. Comment, silence. If you're going to try this technique this week, I want to know who's ready to become dangerous through stillness. But silence only works if you master this next powerful technique. 5. The voluntary challenge. Building resilience through choice. The Stoics practiced something radical: voluntary hardship. They would deliberately face small challenges to build resilience, not punishment, training. Like athletes who train in difficult conditions to make competition feel easy. Here's the principle. When you regularly step outside your comfort zone by choice, unexpected challenges lose their power. When you practice dealing with discomfort voluntarily, involuntary discomfort becomes manageable. You're not avoiding difficulty, you're becoming friends with it. Start small. Take a cold shower, skip a meal, walk instead of driving, sleep without your favorite pillow. These aren't acts of self-punishment. They're acts of self-empowerment. Each voluntary challenge proves you need less than you think. And when you need less, you fear less. The neuroscience backs this up. Voluntary challenges actually rewire your brain's stress response. Your amygdala, fear center, becomes less reactive. Your prefrontal cortex, rational thinking, becomes stronger. You're literally rebuilding your brain for resilience. Today, not tomorrow, today, choose one small voluntary challenge. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's saying no to something comfortable. Feel the discomfort. Then notice, you're still okay. You're building invincibility one choice at a time. 6. The reframe method. Transform every negative into fuel. Every negative event contains a hidden gift, not in a fake positive way, in a practical way. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception. You can't control what happens, but you always control what it means. Thomas Edison's laboratory burned down, years of work gone. His response: all our mistakes are burned up. Now we can start fresh. 3 weeks later, he delivered the phonograph. That's not optimism. That's strategic thinking. He transformed disaster into opportunity. Someone betrays you. You just learned who they really are. Valuable information. You get fired. You're free to find something better. Relationship ends. You've been saved from the wrong person. This isn't denial. It's choosing the most useful perspective. Here's the key. Ask, how is this serving me? Not, why did this happen to me? But how is this happening for me? This single question transforms you from victim to strategist. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? What's the worst thing that happened to you this year? Now find the hidden advantage. Drop your answer below. Watch how many people found strength in their struggles. 7. The boundary equation. Calm doesn't mean weak. Being calm does not mean being a doormat. The Stoics weren't passive. They were strategic. They chose their battles wisely. And here's the truth. You can set boundaries without anger. You can be firm without being harsh. You can protect yourself without attacking others. Marcus Aurelius led armies. He made hard decisions. He held people accountable, all without emotional volatility. Being unshakable doesn't mean accepting everything. It means responding with clarity instead of emotion. Here's your framework. State the behavior clearly. Set the boundary firmly. Explain the consequence calmly. Follow through consistently. No drama, no emotion, just cause and effect. Like physics. Example, you interrupted me. Please let me finish. If it happens again, we'll continue this conversation later. Simple, clear, powerful, no anger needed. Your boundaries speak for themselves. The paradox. When you're willing to enforce boundaries calmly, you rarely need to. People sense your self-respect and adjust accordingly. Weakness invites disrespect. Calm strength commands respect. Which are you projecting? 8. The teacher perspective. Your critics are your coaches. Your harshest critics are inadvertently helping you. They're showing you exactly where you can grow stronger. Every trigger point they hit, that's valuable data. Every insecurity they expose, that's your next area of development. The Stoics viewed obstacles as training. Your enemies, they're your unpaid personal trainers. They're stress testing your character. They're revealing your weak points. Without them, you'd never know where to improve. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. That rejection created his legendary work ethic. Oprah was told she was unfit for television. That criticism fueled her determination. Your critics aren't stopping you. They're redirecting you toward greatness. Write down the name of your biggest critic. Now list 3 ways they've inadvertently helped you grow. Maybe they pushed you to prove them wrong. Maybe they revealed an area needing improvement. Maybe they taught you resilience. Transform resentment into gratitude. Watch your energy shift. Number 9. The mortality filter. The ultimate perspective tool. Here's a thought experiment that changes everything. Imagine you could see a counter above everyone's head, showing how many hours they have left. Not to cause anxiety, but to reveal something profound. We're all operating on borrowed time, yet we waste it on the smallest things. The average human life contains about 700,000 hours. That sounds like a lot until you realize how quickly they disappear. Sleep takes a third. Work takes another third. And what about the rest? How much goes to worrying about things that won't matter in a year? How much to replaying conversations that are already over? How much to seeking validation from people whose names you'll forget? The Stoics practiced memento mori. Remember you must die. Not as a dark meditation, but as a clarity tool. When you truly grasp that your time is finite, whether you're 20 or 70, something shifts. The trivial becomes obviously trivial. The important becomes urgent. The petty becomes laughable. Steve Jobs once said, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose." This isn't about fear. It's about focus. When you accept that time is your only real currency, you stop spending it on people and problems that don't deserve it. I want you to try this. Set a gentle daily reminder that says something like, "Make it count." Not to pressure you, but to remind you of what's real. Watch how it shifts your perspective. That argument you were about to have, maybe not worth your limited energy. That grudge you've been holding, maybe it's time to let it go. Number 10. The daily practice. Small actions, massive results. Change doesn't come from information. It comes from repetition. 10 minutes daily beats 10 hours once. Consistency beats intensity. Small actions compound into transformation. When you wake up tomorrow before the world gets its hooks in you, take just 5 minutes for mental preparation. Ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? How will I respond with composure? You're preparing your mind the same way an athlete warms up their body, not with complicated rituals or hour-long meditations. Just 5 minutes of intentional thinking about the day ahead. Then at night, when the day is done and you're winding down, take another 5 minutes. Review what happened. What triggered you? How did you respond? What could you do differently tomorrow? No harsh judgment, no self-criticism. Just honest observation and gentle adjustment. You're becoming a scientist studying your own behavior. That's it. 10 minutes total. But here's where the magic happens. Compound this over 30 days, and you'll notice subtle shifts. Compound it over 60 days, and others will notice. Compound it over a year, and you'll be unrecognizable. You're not just changing habits, you're literally rewiring your brain. Studies show that consistent meditation physically shrinks the amygdala and grows the prefrontal cortex. You're performing surgery on your own brain through practice. The beauty is in the simplicity. No apps needed, no special equipment, no perfect environment. Just you, taking 10 minutes to build mental strength, the same way you'd build physical strength, through consistent, deliberate practice. Comment day 1 if you're starting this practice tomorrow. Let's see who's ready to commit to transformation through consistency. Number 11. The ultimate test. When life really challenges you, everything you've learned is preparation for the moments that truly test you. Real loss, real betrayal, real failure. That's when you discover if you've actually changed or just collected information. Marcus Aurelius faced plague, war, betrayal, and the death of children. He didn't collapse. He wrote meditations, wisdom that's guided millions for 2,000 years. He transformed the worst circumstances into timeless philosophy through daily practice of these exact principles. Life will test you. When that moment arrives, you'll face a choice. React with emotion or respond with wisdom. Fall apart or grow stronger. Become bitter or become better. You're already stronger than you realize. You've survived every challenge so far. Every setback that felt like it would break you didn't. You're still here. That's not luck. That's resilience. Which technique will you actually use? Not just find interesting. Actually practice. Because wisdom without application is worthless. These aren't abstract concepts. They're tools that worked for Marcus Aurelius running an empire, Epictetus transcending slavery, Seneca facing death with dignity. Your challenge: pick one technique, practice it for 7 days, then share what changed. Something will shift. Maybe you'll handle criticism differently, sleep better, stay calmer. Small changes compound. Let me know in the comments. Which technique are you committing to for 7 days? Make it public. Create accountability. That's how change happens. If this video gave you even one practical tool, subscribe now, because next week we are covering the 7 Stoic secrets to unshakable confidence, projecting strength without arrogance, commanding respect without demanding it. Remember, you're not becoming emotionless. You're becoming strategic, not avoiding challenges, but becoming equipped for them. Not numbing yourself, but choosing where to invest your energy. The world is about to meet a calmer, clearer, more focused version of you. Unshakable in the face of what used to shake you. That transformation starts with whichever technique you practice today. Your stronger self is waiting. Will you do the work or stay exactly where you are? The choice is yours. Make it count.